I am back with another one of my four must watch fights for this week. It's a flyweight bout between Stipe Brcic going up against Jahanta Silva. This is a really interesting one for me. I'll talk a little bit about Silva first. He's 7-1. He's 25 years old. He trains out of American Top Team out there in Rome. When I go back and I look at his tape, I see a lot of like raw potential with him. I hate to use the word raw, but that's kind of what I have to go with because this really is his first fight against a very high level opponent. I'm curious to see some of the things that he can do, kind of like where his wrestling's at, where his grappling's at, where his striking's at. All of those things are going to have improved immensely based off of the last tape that I saw from him. Not throwing any shade at him. I think he's a super talented young guy. But I'm curious to see like what this version of him will look like when he takes on Brcic. Brcic, for people who don't know, he is one of the top flyweights in Western Europe. This is going to be his like 15th or 16th fight. When he made his Cage Warriors debut, he got a title shot right away. That's how highly the promotion thinks of him. He went up against Sam Creasy. He ended up getting submitted. That bout didn't go his way, but like when you look at what he's been able to accomplish in the aftermath, you're able to understand like why Cage Warriors sought him out and like why they brought him into the promotion. He went up against Aaron Abbey not that long ago. He ends up winning that fight pretty convincingly. There are a lot of things that I saw from him. His striking is very, very proficient. He's very, very accurate. I would expect him to try to keep it on the feet, but other things about his game, the more I watch him, like if this bout gets in the clinch, he can reverse positions, no problem. I think he's also deceptively good on the ground. How this bout will unfold, what will Silva's game plan be? Is he going to be content to strike with Brcic, or is he going to try to leverage wrestling or grappling? I'm not really sure because I really don't have a good baseline from Silva against high level competition. That's what we're going to find out. For Silva, if he can win this fight, it automatically puts him in the title picture. It's kind of a risky fight for Brcic, I believe, in my opinion, just simply because if he loses this fight, against an up and coming prospect. I'm not really sure where that puts him in the pecking order, but I think it's a really exciting bout. I'm really curious for this one. I think you guys are going to like it. Expect a lot of excitement. I don't think this one's going to go the full 15 minutes. I'm expecting a finish. Let's see if I'm right. LFA 155, we're going to have another flyweight contest. This time it's going to be between Cody Davis, who's 6-1. He's going to be taking on Joseph Camacho, who is 5-0 going into this fight. So we'll see. Will Camacho be able to go up to 6-0 and keep that perfect record intact? Or is Cody Davis going to be able to go up to 7-1? When Cody was interviewed recently by Alex B. Hoonan, he talked a little bit about dropping his first fight, how he felt about that experience, and how he felt like he needed to put on a performance in the aftermath of that, specifically by getting a finish. It was a really interesting interview. I definitely recommend you guys check that out. But a few things about Cody Davis. Very, very high level guy. He's only been a pro since 2020. And so not a lot of mileage on him, only 7 fights. And again, he was able to get a rear naked choke over a 5-1 opponent back at LFA 148 not that long ago. Talented fighter. I'm expecting him to hunt for a finish in this fight as well. Let's talk a little bit about Joseph Camacho. He's from Guam, and when guys from Guam fight on the mainland for the first time, I'm always a little bit curious to see just kind of how are they going to perform. Well, what is the scene like in Guam? I know that oftentimes those guys will go to Asia and they'll compete in Asia Pacific against other really high level fighters. But not everyone has the resources and the opportunity to do that. So sometimes you'll see guys with some really high records, and then they'll come over here, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. Joseph Camacho, though, like he made a believer out of me when I watched him perform in his last bout. Those were the questions, the ones I just mentioned, the question marks I had about Camacho. They were mostly answered when I watched him compete. He was a plus 285 dog at LFA 134. He took on Aiden Correa, who's a 5-1 fighter, very gifted fighter. Joseph Camacho did a lot of things. I thought he was very close to finishing that fight. He's 30 years old, so he's in his athletic prime, but he only has a handful of fights under his belt. It's going to be really exciting to it's just a really compelling matchup, I feel. And can we talk a little bit about the LFA flyweight division? When I think of like who the toughest weight class is in regional MMA, I immediately think about the LFA flyweight division. You have so many good guys that can compete. You have Moriarty, you have Fernandez, you have Yuma, you have Christian Natividad, and these two guys. So, and that's just a small sampling. You also have Mark Camacho too. So, like, there's just so many great fighters at 125 pounds in LFA. So, anytime there's a flyweight contest in LFA, I encourage you guys to watch it. The next bout that I have circled on my list happens at Fury FC 76, and it's a match between Zach Borrego, and he's going to be taking on Jackson Wink's Lawan Davis. Let's first start with Borrego. This is a guy that you may have some familiarity with. Some people might even recognize his name. He was featured on Dana White Contender Series. He went up against the buzzsaw that is Bo Nickel. That is the only L that he's ever taken in his career. No shame at all into losing the Bo Nickel. We know how much of a beast he is, but so is Borrego. There's a lot of things this guy does very well. He's kind of a bully. He likes to strike, and he will not hesitate to throw kicks. We saw a lot of kicks in his last bout. I'm very curious to see kind of how he will approach Lawan Davis. Lawan Davis, he is 6'4", and he's got an 82-inch reach. Look at him, and it's hard not to be impressed. His length, his size. One of the things that I'm kind of curious to see is who's going to be the aggressor in this fight. When I've seen Davis compete in the past, when other opponents have employed a really aggressive game plan against him, he's very calm, cool, collected. When people try to pressure fight him, it doesn't seem like it bothers him too much. Very good footwork. So I will not be surprised if Borrego comes out and really tries to test him there and see just kind of how Davis responds to that. I'm not really sure. This is going to be a very, very high level bout between really two special prospects that I feel. Not really sure how this one's going to go. Again, Borrego, beast. Davis, I look at this guy and I think he could be something special. Don't mean to put pressure on this guy, but he's just an exciting guy. You watch him, you watch a guy like this come into the cage, and just you can really quickly see like he's something else. Like I do believe that Lawan Davis is somebody who can go into the next level of MMA and have a lot of success. Both of these guys, I feel that way about Borrego too, but this is just a really, really high level fight. And I hope you guys watch it. I know both these guys don't have a lot of professional bouts under their belt quite yet, but these two men are going to be staples in the major MMA scene at some point down the road. Tune into this one. I think these guys are going to put on a show for you. My fourth and final fight, it happens at the Fury Challenger Series, and it's the headliner. It's between Michael Aswell and Austin Lutchen. Let's first talk about Michael Aswell. I like him quite a bit. He's a very impressive guy. He's 6-0, really young. I think he's like 21 or 22 years old. And because people are kind of assholes, people are going to go on Tapology. They're going to pull down his record and look at some of his earlier fights and say, whatever. This guy has a padded record. I'm not really going to take him too seriously. But here's the deal. Like, make up your minds. Those same people who say that would also tell another fighter, oh, take your time. Be choosy about your matchups. Like, it just kind of enrages me because it's like, be consistent. Think about what it is that you're saying. When I look at Michael Aswell, I think him and his team, I think they're doing a fantastic job. I think they're building him up slowly. They're being methodical. They're choosing their matchups wisely. And, hey, I think you're not going to get any shade from me, Michael. I think you're a talented guy. And I really started to pay attention to you when you fought Cameron Graves at Fury FC 72. That was a statement victory. Cameron Graves is in his athletic prime, and you were able to go ahead and after that first initial couple minutes in the very first round, you were able to quickly get your striking dialed in, and you really put a hurt on him. At the end of the first round, it was really close, very, very close to getting a TKO. Didn't go his way, saved by the bell. But going into like the very opening portion of the second round, I think it just kind of, you could sense it in the air that Michael Aswell was going to be able to put away Cameron Graves, and that's exactly what he did. I see a lot of great potential in this guy. I'm really excited about him. And I'm excited about this matchup because Austin Lutchen is a very special fighter as well. I like Austin so much that in 2021, I named him my prospect of the year. At that time, he was 5-0, and he had five first round finishes. A very special guy. There's a lot of things about Austin that'll leap out at you. He's definitely a character, and when I think of him, I think of that image of Joe Rogan's golden retriever Marshall sitting next to like this like real crazy scary werewolf. Austin, you are Marshall Rogan. That is you 100% in MMA, but don't be deceived. He may not be a very intimidating looking guy, but I will tell you that Austin Lutchen is somebody you should take very, very seriously. Very, very high level jiu-jitsu. If this bout makes it to the ground, Austin will be comfortable there. I am going to suspect that's probably going to be in his game plan. He is going to want to try to employ his jiu-jitsu if he gets the chance. When you look at Austin's record, you're going to notice that he's coming off of two back-to-back losses, but both of those losses were against top-notch competition, including Nate Jennerman, who is an absolute beast and was just on The Ultimate Fighter not that long ago. For Austin Lutchen, there are a few things here. For him, first and foremost, it'll just be a matter of like how has his game evolved since his most recent fight. What's the striking look like? What's the wrestling look like? Everyone knows that Austin has amazing jiu-jitsu. We already know that, but what are the other elements of MMA? I think he has some things up his sleeve that he'll be ready to show. I know that he trains with the B team in Austin, Texas, and he trains alongside some of the best fighters from that area. So this is going to be a really exciting matchup to me between two high-level guys. I have plenty. I hold Michael Aswell in high regard. I also obviously hold my boy Austin Lutchen in high regard as well. These are two really high level guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. So there you have it. Those are the four fights that I have on my radar this week. Let me know which ones that you guys are interested in, and let's have some dialogue in the comments below. Enjoy the fights.